It's 1991. Jay-Z is mostly unknown but viewed as an inspiring artist as Jaz-O's protege. But after some time, he realized his dreams to be a top artist were not going to be realized. His mentor, Jaz-O, was going through label and money problems, with it barely being an opportunity for Jay to make any money himself. To make matters worse, he was being turned down by labels for a record deal. He refused to be a broke, struggling artist, seeing his crew from Marcy making moves in the street game. It eventually became too much to turn down. His friend D. Haven made some major connections in Maryland and Virginia, offering Jay an opportunity to be a part of his connect, to enjoy the spoils of the rich street life. Jay-Z dropped his rap dreams, becoming a full-fledged D-boy in the streets, and at that point, never to be heard from again in the music industry. Meet Clark Kent, who was an established DJ with hit records with a new position as the head A&R for Atlantic Records. On a mission to find the next superstar artist, the only problem is he already feels he's seen the greatest rapper no one knew about, which was Jaz-O's protege, Jay-Z, who he formed a relationship in the earlier days when Jay-Z was rapping. But it's been years since anyone has heard any music from him. Clark still tried to convince Atlantic to sign the unknown artist, but all his efforts ended with an abrupt no. So he set out to find Jay-Z himself and break him into the industry. Only problem was he needed to focus on his own craft, producing music and DJing, so he didn't have time to manage or do the footwork needed to break an artist. Knowing he needed to add someone to the team with enough drive and passion to make it work. Everything changed when he met Dame Dash, who was the typical flashy, braggadocious, and extremely confident Harlem, New York cat who's hungry. Dame himself is a hustler, also seeking a way out of the hood for his friends and family, currently managing his own group of aspiring rappers, hoping that one artist he can build with to make it big time. He's becoming a known face in the New York hip-hop scenes, promoting his artists, even getting his group Original Flavor signed to a record deal. Clark knows Dame has just the right bravado and passion to force Jay-Z in the industry. Clark hits Dame up and tells him about Jay. Dame is at first hesitant because he doesn't want to waste his time. Clark tells him Jay is better than every artist out right now, and Dame's seen the talented MCs that are coming out of New York. He asks Clark, "So you're telling me this guy is better than Big L?" Clark emphatically says, "Yes." And he asks Dame to meet him in Brooklyn, Marcy Projects. Dame first refuses, saying, "Harlem cats don't go to Brooklyn, y'all too grimy. But if this guy is better than everyone out, it was worth the risk." And Dame agrees to meet Jay. Now the problem for Clark, no one has heard from Jay-Z in years. He started to ask around but didn't get any leads. Even his own hometown stomping ground, Marcy Projects, left no luck. He even reached out to Jay's old mentor, Jaz-O, but Clark was surprised that he hasn't even heard from Jay. But Jaz-O did tell him to hit up Fade with Shirt Kings, that they might know where he is. Shirt King was the hottest streetwear in the city. If you wanted to be fly and flex your status, you would cop one of their signature shirts. So Clark meets with Fade, tells him he's looking for Jay-Z. To his surprise, Fade had a number for him to call. Clark called it, and Jay-Z picks up.
Yeah.
Clark tells him they need to meet about music. He has someone he would like to introduce him to. Jay refuses, no longer focused on taking rap serious. Lets him know he has a great thing going on in the streets. Clark hounds him though to quit the streets and to take rap more serious again at least one more time, and tells Jay he will get unlimited studio time and beats from him. Also, he's found a manager making moves named Dame Dash. Jay can hear how much he believes in him. Figures he has some new dope bars to kick, so what does he have to lose? And he agrees. So Jay gets fresh, hops in his decked out Lexus, and hits I-95 for a 5-hour drive back to Brooklyn. I hate to interrupt this video, but real quick, the time has come and I need your help. I have a goal this year to eventually post one video every week of your favorite stories, but with it only being me creating all these videos, I need to hire some help. I finally created a Patreon, which will hopefully be the change needed. If you would like to be one of my first supporters in helping us reach that goal, please head over to my Patreon down in the description. Sign up, select the best option for you, and become a part of this journey. And last, all supporters will receive special privileges like early access to videos, voting for future videos, behind the scenes access, free artwork, music, and much more, with even direct access to myself for those of you with any questions or would just like to connect. So head over to my Patreon and let's build this thing up, man. Back to the video. It's 1993. Jay-Z has bounced around from Baltimore, DC, and recently Virginia. At this point, he's all the way in the dope game with enough money coming in most people living in poverty would dream about. He feels burned by the music industry from broken promises. He is now far past those old days. Even the thought of being a rapper no longer occurs to him. He's 100% planted into the streets. He and his partners even joke about how corny rappers are, but for some reason, he can't seem to stop pondering on new bars to freestyle, knowing it comes too easy to him. It became a game to pass time while pitching his work, writing rhymes on brown paper bags he would get from the corner store. On some occasions, he didn't have paper to write his rhymes, so he would learn to memorize every word and every bar. One thing he couldn't refuse was the risk that came with the rewards. Witnessing countless murders, robberies, and a lot of his close friends catching long bids in jail. The stress was beginning to add some weight in his decision to give music another chance. As far as for Clark, everything is going as planned. Dame Dash and Jay-Z finally ready to meet up in Marcy Projects. Jay pulls up in his fresh Lexus, hops out looking flashy, and it's obvious things have been going great for the old Jazzo protege. Dame was also surprised how he had fresh Air Force Ones on. To Harlem cats, most guys from Brooklyn aren't known for being fly. Dame compliments him on his shoes and then asks for him to kick a rhyme. Without hesitation, Jay kicks a flow. Immediately, Dame sees he's found the artist he's been looking for. From his wordplay, delivery, to witty lyrics, he knew this guy was gold. Dame tells Clark, "You got a deal. I'll manage him." But Jay-Z is still hesitant, feeling the industry is shady. But Clark tells Jay to trust him this time is different, and Dame has crazy work ethic, already managing artists that have deals. Dame also tells him he will help make him the biggest rapper. We'll even start by getting him on a song with a rap group out of Bronx that he got signed called Original Flavor. Reluctantly, Jay tells them he will only do this if they can get traction, and he is only dropping one album. They all agree and start planning their next moves. Jay-Z heads back to Virginia to get back to what he knows best: hustling. At this time, the rap game is mostly dominated by New York, which is known as the capital of hip-hop. The landscape of rap in New York had the current hip-hop heavyweights like LL Cool J, KRS-One, Big Daddy Kane, Run DMC, to name several. A new group named Mobb Deep also dropped, Juvenile Hell. Queen Latifah, who was a known star at the time, had a big hit called Unity. You were also starting to get a new hungry breed of top MCs like the Wu-Tang Clan with new songs like Cream and Protect Your Neck, A Tribe Called Quest, De La Soul, and the grimy group Onyx. Also a few bubbling underground artists like Notorious B.I.G. with his first song, Party and Bullshit, up-and-coming rapper Nas with his single debut, Halftime, and Big L being considered the best battle rapper and the next big artist to eventually break. On the national scene of rap music, you had Souls of Mischief with 93 Till Affinity, Naughty by Nature with Hip Hop Array, Cypress Hill, Insane in the Membrane, and in the South, you had top artists like Outkast with Players Ball, Poison Clan, Scarface with the Ghetto Boys, and currently at this moment, West Coast is at the top of street rap with gangster rap stars like Ice Cube, Eazy-E, Dr. Dre, and also you had Tupac representing Oakland, considered one of the bigger, youngest stars as a dual threat appearing in movies, TV shows like A Different World with Jada Pinkett, and currently filming his third movie, Poetic Justice, co-leading with one of pop's biggest stars, Janet Jackson. He also has 2 hits on the radio with I Get Around and Keep Your Head Up. And the new artist, Snoop Doggy Dogg, just released his record-breaking #1 hit album, Doggy Style, making Death Row Records, led by Suge Knight, a true contender as a top label in the game. Jay-Z and Dame will meet up at Clark's studio in Brooklyn to record songs and for the business meetings. Along with their crew, rapper Sauce Money, who Dame was managing, and Jay-Z's neighborhood friend, Memphis Bleak, to name a few. The first time they went into the studio, Jay was offered a pen and pad to write his lyrics to the beats. Everyone was shocked when he passed and just went into the corner to listen to the beats. So he would close his eyes, mumbling lyrics quietly, like in a meditative state. Then, 5 to 10 minutes later, told them he was ready and to load the track. leaving everyone more shocked how he would then record some of the best verses they ever heard rapped in one take. Even his content drastically changed as his life has, rapping about the struggles he faced in the streets, letting everyone know in his lyrics why he's been missing for years, far removed from the naive kid when he first entered into the game, and now more into the successful drug dealer with street dreams that everybody from the street could relate to, rapping about the struggles most black youths faced at the time. Clark will put Jay on every remix or beat he made, with them recording several songs a session. With Jay-Z back making music again, it was now on Dame to make sure his artists reached the top. This is when Jay knew Dame Dash was serious by how hard he was working, from selling his demo tapes out the trunk, pushing label meetings, promoting his music at all the clubs, and setting up rap shows for him to perform almost every weekend. Even as promised, featured him on the dope song with his rap group Original Flavor called Can I Get Open. The top lyricist typically goes last, so Jay was the one closing the song out, making it an extra special moment. He was also ghostwriting for other artists at the time, and Dame knew he had the best artists, so much so he would set up random battle raps for Jay, challenging any rapper who wanted to test his artist. It became a regular occurrence for Jay to be battling rappers in every borough of New York. Unfortunately, things were still moving a little slow, with labels refusing to sign a street artist like Jay-Z, feeling he didn't have any hits or enough buzz. And since things were still slow, after he was done with his rap duties, Jay would go right back to Virginia, back to the block, hustling. Dame would set up meetings with label execs to pitch his artists, and Jay-Z made sure to make each meeting, but eventually grew tired after they kept getting turned down. No one saw their vision or him as a legit artist, leaving them both frustrated, especially Dame, who would get furious being rejected by the labels, truly believing he had the best artists in New York. So instead of depending on a label, the two came up with a plan to start their own record label. They both had a lot of money between them too, but knowing they had to compete with labels that had an unlimited budget, they needed even more money, and Dame knew just who to go to. Meet Kareem Burke, who goes by the name Biggs. He didn't see Jay at the time as a great rapper, but believed in Dame and their vision, so he agreed, fronting a huge lump sum of money, completing the final piece they needed to set things in motion. Dame next had a meeting at his crib, invited a bunch of his friends and aspiring artists, told them the plan with starting their own record label, and everyone was on board. He asked them to now come up with a name, and one of his artists at the time, Tony Hooker, came up with Roc-A-Fella, and the meaning he told them was, they rock fellas on stage, and since they're fly, they're also known for getting money like the billionaires Rocafella, who is one of the wealthiest families in American history. Immediately, everyone loved the name. And with Jay-Z to become the head of the label as the first artist to be up, they made their first demo tape with about 9 songs produced by Clark Kent, with songs included like The Greatest MC, Pass the Rock, and 4 other songs featuring Sauce Money. You can even listen to Understand Me, which had a Tupac sample from his street hit song, Pain. And on this one, Jay started to show his versatility, showcasing a more laid-back flow instead of the fast rapping, which started to be more common as he continued to make music. And they went hard shopping the new tape, posted up in random boroughs of New York, selling them out of the trunk. And they were no longer looking for a record deal, instead wanting a distribution deal, but labels still didn't see their vision, viewing them as too much of a risk at the time. Jay-Z and Sauce Money next did a feature for one of his past mentors, Big Daddy Kane, on a song called Show and Prove. They worked the songs at every club or event Dame could get booked, packed in a car traveling state to state. And Big Daddy Kane, who was the biggest star at the time, was welcoming, letting Jay open up at his shows as well. And at this time, Jay would stay in the studio for long hours perfecting his craft, and eventually coming out with his first single released independently called I Can't Get With That. Jay still showcased his fast rapping ability on the song. Most could hear his lyrical ability, but nothing really stick from the song, which fizzled out pretty quickly. So next, they dropped a new song that they felt was the one, called In My Lifetime, which was the first song that convinced Biggs Jay-Z was really special. They finally had the sound they've been looking for to push in the streets. It's now 1994, and the rap game is starting to shift, with the younger, talented rappers taking over more mainstream, like New York rapper Craig Mack, with Flavor in Your Ear, with a remix that featured amazing verses from LL Cool J and one of Biggie's best verses at the time. And a new contender, Chicago rapper Common, released his hit song, I Used to Love Her. Gangstar released their 4th album, Hard to Earn. Method Man, who is now one of the biggest artists in New York, released Bring the Pain and All I Need, featuring the star R&B singer Mary J. Blige. In the South, with Outkast releasing a new song, Get Up, Get Out, Warren G and Nate Dogg was killing the airwaves, repping the West Coast with Regulate. And Tupac was now a rap heavyweight after his second album, Strictly For My Niggas, went platinum. And he was also featured in another big movie, Above the Rim, which was filmed in New York. Then also following it up with his third release being a self-titled album of his rap group, Thug Life, that he's been repping since '93. The current two classic albums that dropped out of New York were Nas's debut, Illmatic, and Biggie's Ready to Die. Both artists receiving major mainstream success with their hit albums, making them both the new hottest rappers in the game. Rap was quickly becoming the more popular genre of music that everyone wanted to be a part of, making it even more competitive. But one thing Jay-Z loved to do was compete. So with everyone on the team, they pushed his music like the hottest drug on the market. The whole Roc family became known to even pop up at the hottest clubs or events, getting deals with local mom and pop's music stores to sell their tapes. No one knew who this crew was in the VIP, buying up all the bottles, shining with expensive chains, bracelets, watches, having their own music singles delivered to the DJs in a gift basket included with the most expensive champagne you could find, even having those gift baskets delivered to the radio stations' DJs, which is how DJ Premier first heard Jay-Z's new music. Premier was a big DJ and producer currently working his own radio slot at a known radio station. He was hand-delivered one of those gift baskets from Jay-Z and Clark Kent, who he already knew. They asked him if he would consider to play it someday, and Premier replied, "No, I'll listen to it now and determine if it's whack or not first." So during the commercial break, he checked it out, immediately knowing this song was hot, and could see how hungry Jay was, so he played it on the radio as soon as he went back on air. With it now getting spins on the radio, it came across Patrick Moxey, owner of his own independent label called Payday Records, who also kept track of music sales and was impressed to see Jay-Z's singles selling almost 300 copies a week out of the stores, which was big at the time for an independent artist. He reached out to Premier, who linked him with Jay. With the help of negotiations from Jay-Z's music lawyer, Combat Jack, Patrick immediately signed Jay-Z, but not as an artist, but for his single In My Lifetime, with an advancement of $30,000. One of the things Dame knew Jay needed next were some dope videos that they could get on Music Box, which was a hit music video TV show perfect to help generate enough buzz. So they set out with their own money hiring a new hot videographer, Abdul Malik Abad, who just came off winning an award for one of his videos for Abby Lincoln called People in Me. Dame and Jay loved how his videos were shot in a dramatic movie style with a plot. If you didn't know, Jay was already making close, if not more, than most famous rappers, so on his set, he had fly whips that he owned, with his favorite at the time, his Lexus, expensive champagne, jewelry, Dame's Pathfinder, and of course, some beautiful women, looking like a true rapper's video set. They shot videos for the songs I Can't Get With That and the lead single In My Lifetime, which they filmed two different versions for. Using one of Big's connects, they flew out to St. Thomas in the Virgin Islands to a mansion on the beach with boats, hot tubs, and everything else you would want to film a rich lifestyle party for a video. This was one of the first times an independent artist could pull off such a budget for a video that could compete with mainstream artists. The Roc knew their rise was coming. Assuming their label was working the single on their end, the Roc family hit the road, performing at every show Dame could book, leading to a great relationship with Maria Davis, who hosted one of the most popular hip-hop showcases called Mad Wednesdays. She believed in their movement and most of all, their music, giving them a spot almost every week to perform. Jay was finally getting the recognition he deserved, generating a bigger buzz in New York, but things eventually turned sour between Roc-A-Fella and Payday Records, since they felt like the label did not push or market their single properly, and they were doing all the work themselves, even paying for most of the promo and videos out of their pockets. On several occasions, Jay would show up at local record stores for a scheduled meet and greet with fans, but surprised the stores didn't even have his own records to sell in stock, which was completely the label's fault. So they had enough of their partnership. Being smart businessmen, they managed to get bought out of their contract due to the label's negligence. Now with the extra money, they decided to finally open up their own office for Roc-A-Fella Records. They wanted it to be in the New York location where all the major deals were being made and wealth was all around. And what's a better location than Wall Street? So they found the perfect small office, hired 8 staff members, and officially launching Roc-A-Fella Records as a fully independent label. In their first office meeting with the new team, they came up with the plans for Jay-Z's debut album, originally called Heir to the Throne, but later changed to Reasonable Doubt. Thanks for watching the video and make sure you subscribe for part 2. And also, check out other videos that we have on the channel. And most of all, thank you for your support. And make sure you like the video and subscribe.